Hello, Robert Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut your brand new, of course this is exactly what Gucci sends to me. You get the nice, very thick paper bag, and these are your Gucci 1066 color 4UP in the 56 eye size. Let's take everything out. I've yet to even touch these things out of the bag. This is your card of authenticity that you get from Gucci, so you can register your product with them. And let's go ahead and look at the case. You don't want to look at this card. Let's look at what we got inside this bag. This is, of course, there's a little plastic sleeve on the temple to protect the temples from rubbing together during shipping. And of course, you're going to get all of this, all the manufacturer's original packaging. But this is your Gucci 1066 in the 56 eye size. Hopefully my camera is good enough to pick that up. GU 1066 color 4UP, which is black and red in the 56 eye size. And hang on, just getting the text here. I'll have to answer that later. But yeah, one of the nicest men's Gucci right now. It's got the red green ribbon on the side. I love this textured rubber. This is my favorite frame other than the Ray-Ban 2132 that you've seen me wear in every single video. There's a good chance I may be wearing this one soon. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take out the original demo lenses, one of which it says Gucci, pop out the other one, and I'm going to take your Italian frame, put it into my edger, and hit trace. Now everyone wants to know, how does the machine know what shape lens to cut? This is why. This stylus is going to come around and it's going to trace the shape of the right lens before moving over and tracing the shape of the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy genuine, authentic Gucci frame and you will receive free, clear, single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. My receipt has my federal ID tax number on there, so if you have vision insurance or flex dollars, you will be reimbursed for this purchase, whether you need prescriptions or not. You're going to get one pair of clear lenses. Of course, you paid the upgrade for the transitions and the Crizal anti-glare, and we will get to that. But let's go ahead and enter your pupillary distance. This is the shape of your frame. Close that up there. It's just magnified. I'm going to bring it down, but that is the shape that your lens is going to cut, that little green line that you see. I'm going to magnify everything again. The pupillary distance for your right eye is 34. It starts at 32.5, so I'm going to raise that up to 34. Let's flip this over, and then we're going to raise that up to 35. 34 and 35. We are good, so let's bring this back over to the right lens. Now let's go ahead and get your lenses prepped. These are your lenses. Your right eye, in fact, let me go ahead and mark these for you. This is your right lens and this is your left lens. It's written two different ways. There's a plus cylinder and a minus cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and do it the way that everyone else in the civilized world is, which is minus. Once upon a time they put the astigmatism correction on the front of the lens. Years ago they started switching it to the rear, so that's why it has a minus mark since it's in the rear. But again, you're going to get the manufacturer's original packaging, so you know you are receiving the real deal. But I'm going to take your lens out of the packet. This is the right lens. You see me break the seal. There we go. Take your right lens out of its protective pouch. It comes with a little laminate across the front of the lens. I don't know if you can see that or not. That prevents the lens, anything rubbing against it during shipping. I'm going to take it out and put it in my Marco 101 lensometer. I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 90. Put this in there. I'm going to put the power drum on plus 50. Let me zero that out and make sure everything's perfect. I'm going to put it on plus 50. Put your lens in, rotate it until the sphere power comes in clearly, which is the plus 50. Get everything lined up just right. Check your astigmatism correction. Everything lines up perfectly. And I'm going to put 3 dots on there. Maybe too light for you to see, so I'm going to darken these. 1, 2, and 3. And this is the right lens, so I'm going to put an R there. Now I'm going to open up the left lens out of its protective sleeve. Here we go. Take it out of there. Remove the laminate that protects the front of the lens. Now this is only a +1/4. Actually, before I forget, let me turn off this tint tank. I'm gonna go home and let that thing boil over. That's if you needed some tint. I can put any color in there you need, but you got the nicer than tint. You got transition. You don't need tint. These are going to turn dark on their own and stay clear while you're inside. So I'm going to just find the optical center there. I actually only need to put one dot on this lens because you have no astigmatism correction in your left lens. Let's make that L a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and come back down here. Clean up my mess now. And put your right lens down where it's supposed to go. The reason why I put those dots in there, your lens needs to be oriented just a certain way in this frame. If it ever gets off axis, as we call it, you're just not going to see as well. So those 3 dots tell me exactly where to line everything up. You see those 3 dots? This blue cross is the geometric center of your frame. If you actually measured this way and found the exact middle and then found the exact middle there, that is what that blue cross is. Your eye is just inset from there in this smaller little box that you see. So I'm going to put that center dot there. That is your optical center. That is just like this, the crosshairs of a scope. We measure vertically and horizontally. Those other 2 dots let me know that everything is oriented perfectly on a 180 meridian. And I'm just being OCD enough just to make sure it's lined up perfectly. Now this is what we call a block. Of course, I like to call it Jenny from the block. But this needs to be attached to your lens. This is what's going to hold it in place while it is cutting. So I need a double-sided adhesive sticker. Go ahead and grab one. Let me move your Gucci bag out of the way if that's all right. But I've already applied the sticker to one side, so I'm going to pull the paper away to make this side sticky. Now there's a little silver button on the back. That's a magnet. It's going to have 2 jobs. It's going to hold it in place right here, and then once we're inside the edger. So I'm going to line that magnet up, and it's going to hold it in place in that arm. I'm going to hit that button, and the arm's going to come down and place the block onto your right lens. Now I'm going to do the same thing for your left lens. It automatically flips over to the left. Your pupillary distance is 35. I'm going to put that one dark dot right there in the center of the lens, right there in the center of the crosshairs. And got to put the block in there. Gots to put the block. Let me pull that paper away. Let's show you the black sticky side. Put that in there, hit that button. The arm comes down and it's going to place the block onto your left lens. So now your lenses are ready to be cut. Let me show you this edger. This is what costs $40,000. It weighs 200 pounds. I recommend everyone go out and buy one. Put it on your kitchen counter. Then you can cut glasses at home. You won't need me anymore because I'm about to show you how this machine works. The actual cutting wheel is over here on the far right. It's like a heavy grit sandpaper that's going to grind away your polycarbonate lens material until it's the final size. This wheel in the center with that little channel, that valley, that's what's going to put the V-shaped bevel onto your lens, so as it stays inside the bevel of this frame and will never come out. So I'm going to take your right lens. That magnet is going to hold it in place in the chuck, or as I like to call it, the Charles, because I don't know the machine well enough to call it chuck. But I'm going to wake the machine up. Did I mention free bad joke with every pair of glasses? I'm just kidding. You're going to get lots of bad jokes. It ain't just one. So that is the shape of the lens that's going to be cut. I do not want to polish the edges. I do not want to put a bevel on the front of the lens. I'm only going to put one on the back of the lens. And I'm going to hit start. The door closes. That clamp is going to shut. And then the lens is going to move up, and it's going to be traced by 2 white styluses again. They're actually going to trace the shape of your lens as it goes around, and it actually does it twice. It's measuring the thickness at every point on your lens to know exactly where to place the bevel, so the lens is going to sit best inside your frame. I don't know if you can see the different thicknesses going all the way around, but it could actually move the bevel of the lens forward or backward depending on where they want it to sit in the frame. Now you don't have any edge thickness, but if it was a stronger lens, it would position the lens so you have no edge thickness whatsoever. Now your lenses, as I mentioned, are made out of polycarbonate. Polycarbonate is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is also virtually unbreakable. They are bulletproof up to .22 caliber and has both UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure. where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. Unlike the lotions, creams, and sprays that need to be reapplied, this is permanent and will never need to be reapplied. Now if you notice, you may be able to see that shimmering reflection in the back. There is water running in the back, but polycarbonate cuts dry where plastic and high index plastic cut wet. Now your lens is close to the final shape. It is moved up in the styluses. This machine is so exact, it is tracing the lens again, just getting a second reference point on where to place the bevel so it's going to fit best inside the frame. And then also, if you notice, your lens is still completely flat at the edges after this part of the cutting cycle, just like a nickel. I could take it out and it would stand on the counter on its own. Now it's going to move down and get the bevel put onto the lens. So essentially it's a knife-like edge that's now being applied to the lens. Now your lenses, as I mentioned, are polycarbonate. Now you also upgraded to the Transition Signature 7 gray lenses, which I'll demonstrate in a little bit. But you also got the Crizal Alize with the UV protection. And of course that's mentioned down here on the packet with the SPF sun protection. Now if you notice, water has begun spraying onto the lens. It does this for the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle to wash away any optical debris that may be there. Now the last part of this arm that's moving into place, there's a lever and almost like a little wheel like you would find on a Dremel tool. That is applying the safety bevel. It's just smoothing out any roughness that's left over from the cutting cycle. So the edge of your lens is going to be completely smooth. Now, as I mentioned, I will demonstrate the transitions later, but you upgraded to the transitions and the Crizal anti-glare. What anti-glare does is it eliminates glare when driving at night, but also glare from, especially driving at night in the rain, but street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead fluorescent lights. And actually, let me demonstrate this a little different. Let me go ahead and take this out. I'm going to dry your lens off so it's not slippery. Just going to use my thumbnail to remove any debris that may still be on the lens. I'm going to take the lens, tuck it in this outside corner first, and use my thumbs, pop it into your frame, and there it goes. So let's go ahead and begin cutting your left lens. But before I do, let me show you the lens without the anti-glare coating. As I mentioned, it eliminates glare when driving at night, especially in the rain. But the second feature is it's an anti-reflection lens. If you notice the reflection from the fluorescent lights above me, you see it on this lens without that coating, but not on yours. Now it's also makes for much better eye contact, so when someone's looking at you, they're not looking at their reflection in your glasses. Plus, if someone takes a picture with a flash, you don't see it lit up in the lens, you see just your eyes. The third feature that I like, the practical side, is it comes with the best scratch coating in the business. The machine that applies that coating to your lens costs well over $1 million. It takes 24 hours to vaporize that cutting. We flip that over to L and hit start. But it takes 24 hours to apply that coating to your lens. And so the time and expense that it takes, they put the strongest scratch coating on top of that to protect their investment. It also just happens to be protect the lens from scratches too. Now, nothing on God's green earth is unscratchable, not even diamonds. It's the hardest substance on this planet, and you can still scratch a diamond. But if life happens, you just come back and see me. So it is already traced. In just a moment, your lens is going to drop down onto the cutting wheel, and when it does, I'm going to go ahead and verify the prescription on the right lens. It's cutting a little slow because of the anti-glare coating. I could cut it faster, but I like to cut a little bit slower. With the anti-glare coating, it's a hydrophobic coating, makes it a little bit more slippery. So I'm going to take that block off, dry the lens off again while leaving that red dot on there. I'm going to come back down, and of course your lens, I have not moved the lensometer, it's still at 90. Where's my flashlight? If you see, the axis wheel is still at 90 down there. I'm going to put your lens in right in front of that red dot, and I'm going to check the power, and I am getting plus 50 right there, which is plus 50, as you imagine, is exactly halfway between 0 and 1. That's what a half is. Check your astigmatism correction, of which you only have one step, and we're down to plus a quarter. One step away from 0. The way your prescription works, the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R. It starts at 0, which we call plano, and goes up from there in quarter increments, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, and so on. So your right eye is plus 50, which means you have 2 steps of correction to magnify. This is a plus lens, so plus is magnify. It makes larger. Without your glasses on, things are too small. You're having to hold things farther away. So with that magnification, you can bring things in back closer. Come on, bring it back to you, Robert. Bring it on back. Come on back with me. But this first number makes everything the correct size. The second number is the SIL, which is abbreviation for cylinder, is your astigmatism correction. Now there is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It just means shape. Everyone relax, don't freak out. People just freak out when they hear that word astigmatism. It is not a disease, it is not an affliction. This first number makes everything the correct size. Astigmatism is what makes everything blurry. That's why 6s and 8s look alike, the letters P and F. Now you only have one step, the smallest amount possible, but this first number makes everything the correct size. This second number takes away those fuzzy edges. Think of it as the fine-tuned knob. So we're going to turn that knob to 90. A straight line is 0 to 180. You know, so all the way to 180, I would turn it this way, but you're literally at 90, so we're going to stop halfway at the 90 meridian. Now your left eye, you only need one step of magnification correction, and you have no astigmatism correction. Now, as you said, you barely need anything, but since you cut hair for a living, you need to be able to see right here, and that magnification is going to come in while you're sitting there. Look at me, let me go cut this. Yep. Oh yeah, you can do that. That's going to work. That's going to work right there. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. I can't see when people are cutting my hair. So, all right, I'm going to dry your lens off. Where'd your frame go? Did I leave it down here in my lensometer? So I'm going to take your left lens. Let me clean off any optical debris. You see that little bit of white stuff? Yep, see, that's left over just like cutting hair. I drop that little hair on the floor. That is called Schwarf. That is optical sawdust. So I'm going to tuck your lens in at the outside corner and using my thumbs, press down at the nose. It snaps right in. I'm going to take this block off. It is no longer needed. Dry the excess moisture off of your lens while leaving that red dot on there. I'm going to come back down to my lensometer, my dusty Marco 101 lensometer, and I'm going to check the strength, and now would be a good time for you to see how dusty it is all around here at the top. And I'm getting +1/4. Now I also should have mentioned that the reason why we ended up at +1/4 here is, you remember high school algebra, you have to subtract the unlike signs, but I do it in today's terms. If you had 50 cents and someone borrowed a quarter, you would end up at 25, and that's where your right lens was. And of course it's the same spot now for your left lens, +1/4. So that is made correctly. Now your pupillary distance is 34 for your right eye, 35 for your left, for a combined value of 69. So I'm going to turn this card over. I'm going to place my PD stick on against my thumb on your right lens, and then we hold it up to measure on the left lens. We're getting 69 millimeters, so that is made perfectly. And here's the time that I point out to everyone while I'm cleaning your lenses, that Robert, there's a small chance that when you first put these on, they're going to be either too loose or too tight. However, there is an 80% chance that one side is going to sit higher than the other. That is because 80% of people have one ear that is higher than the other. But I'm going to get, and I'm no exception, and I'll show you mine, but I'm going to get these in standard alignment. I also like to point out that there's free shipping anywhere in the United States. But let me go ahead and get these in standard alignment, also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set this on the counter and press down. There is no wobble. And when I say wobble, again, I'm part of that 80%. So when I press down on mine, they wobble on the counter, but they sit level on me. Anyone keeping score at home, I am rocking the Ray-Ban 2132 New Wayfarer in the newest color that has just come out, which is the silver metallic, color code 6144. Put these back on so I can see what I'm doing, yo. So these are what your lenses look like while they are clear, and I'm going to go ahead and activate the transitions portion of them. I'm going to expose them to a strong burst of ultraviolet light. Let me just turn that on. Now, as you can see, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds for the lenses to darken inside this box. It takes a little longer when you come back inside, 45 seconds to a minute 15 to return back to clear. Now, Robert, pay attention. All transition lenses will get dark on day 1, providing it's sunny, and they're going to continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks until they reach their final setting. It's like a new employee on the job. You just got to train them for 2 weeks to get them right. Now after that, they will work for years at maximum performance. The only time they will not work is if you're behind the windshield in a traditional car. Your windshield absorbs all the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays, so your dashboard doesn't crack from sitting in the sun, and that's why they don't turn dark in a car. Now if you have a convertible or a motorcycle, they will darken. They're also temperature sensitive, meaning that when it's 90 degrees and below, they get darker than they do when it's 90 and above. When it's in the high 90s, I remind everyone that when it's almost 100 degrees, you don't want to work 100%. You're miserable, your glasses are miserable, everyone is miserable. So this is the first time they've been activated. They're going to continue to darken, as I just mentioned. And of course, I also want to, and they're going to lighten. I'm going to set these right here. This is your Gucci case and your Gucci cloth. I also provide instructions not only on how to care for your glasses, but for your case and your cloth, so they will last you for years. This is your case. Oh, I love the smell of that Italian leather. That is nice. And of course the bag matches all of that. And it's the same pattern you will see on your glasses. Now the case stores flat if you want to put it in your pocket or a case or something like that, your glove box. And then it opens up for when you actually want to use it. You can open this up. The glasses will store inside, and of course it's got that nice belt, and just like the pattern on the outside, you have that pattern on the inside of the case, because Gucci goes all out. I'm going to tuck those in there, and this is how I'm going to ship them to you, with the little plastic sleeve on the temple to protect the temples from rubbing together with you. So that is that. If anyone has any questions about what I can or can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Robert, I hope you enjoyed watching as I made prescription lenses with Transitions Gray and Crizal Alize for your Gucci 1066 color 4UP, the black and green, and the 56 eye size. And this is your first pair of glasses, so this is a treat. That is like getting a convertible Mercedes on your 16th birthday. I hope you enjoy that. Of course, this is the inside of the right temple. You see the Gucci brand and made in Italy. So that's that, and hopefully I hope you love these, and everyone else has got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.